Alright guys, I want to do a quick update today on the orchard. I've told you in my earlier videos that my wife and I have been working on our orchard here. I got the fencing all done a while back ago. We've been buying trees from Bob Wells Nursery. I'll put a link to that video here. We've been planting them the Ellen White method. And if you're not familiar with that method, I'm going to put a link to that here also. So we did our entire orchard here, finished it up. We had some old trees, fruit trees in pots. Normally when you buy fruit trees, they're 2 years old roughly. We had them sitting in pots for almost 2 years and they weren't doing so good, okay? But we were able to salvage some of them, put them in the orchard. Some took off, some not doing so good, and we had 1 or 2 die. That's a little bit too long to be in a pot, that root bound like that. I've been so busy with other things on the property that we're just neglected a lot of that stuff. But anyways, let me give you a quick tour here. Let me explain what we're going to do in our orchard also, and well, just take a look. Alright, so our orchard here is 200 feet long by 100 feet wide. Alright, basically our orchard is set up with rows of 5 fruit trees, and we have 10 rows going down, okay? So this front portion that you see right here, we started off 2 years ago when we first moved here. We didn't know what we were doing, so we bought some fruit trees, planted them in the ground just the traditional way. And some did okay, some did not do good at all. And, you know, that's how that works. So, we did have a Back to Eden garden here for a very short time. And the wood chips did help and change the structure of the soil. And I got a video of that, and I'll put that right here. So it did help. So I'm going to take you through some of the trees here and show you how they're doing. Alright guys, this is a black mission fig that I took from another tree that was growing near the bottom of the tree. And it had roots in it already. And I put it in water for about a week, and then I put it into a pot for, oh, I don't know, about a month maybe. The leaves fell off of it and it started growing new growth. So I put it in the ground here and it's very happy. It's got, oh, maybe a couple inches here of new growth, and it looks like it's doing really good. Alright, in our orchard we have a lot of different varieties of fruit trees here. In the beginning we didn't know what we were doing, so this section you see right here, we just planted different varieties, from plums to peaches to pears, and even persimmons. Some not doing so well, and some are doing pretty good. I'll show you the ones that are doing well. Alright, this here is obviously doing really well. This is a Kefir Pear. Last year it didn't produce that much. I really never pruned this tree. This year it produced a little more for us. So these are still pretty hard, but we're getting about time to pick these. We'll let them ripen up on the counter until they get real nice and juicy, you know. What I'm going to do this winter, and that's another thing about having this orchard now, my videos are going to consist of more of doing pruning, tree cuttings to make more trees. So this tree here is in dire need of some pruning, but I'm leaving it alone this year. As soon as this goes dormant, probably around February, end of February, or near the end of February, I'm going to prune the heck out of this thing, really nice, and all the branches here you see, I'm going to make cuttings out of them, probably about that long, and make new trees out of them. Okay, and I'm going to plant those in a different area of my property. So I got this one and another Kefir Pear here that is in dire need of pruning. Alright guys, everything you see from this tree right here on back is all planted the Ellen White method. That consists of digging a 3-foot wide hole and 3 foot deep, and amending the soil with all different types of organic matter like manures and peat moss and compost, and different types of minerals. That's been working super good. We've been getting some tremendous growth from that system, and let me show you just in a little over 2 months what kind of growth we're getting. Alright guys, this is a turkey fig. I'm going to show you a picture here what it looked like when I first planted it just over 2 months ago. Now this is what it looks like when I planted it. That was June 28th, and it was basically a stick. The trunk was probably no bigger than the size of my finger, and this is what it looks like today. So we even got figs on it right now. And if you look back in there, you can see we got a couple of figs on there already. Even a little baby one right there. Nice. This here is another turkey fig. So here's a picture of it when I first planted it 2 months ago. Again, it was like a little stick. And then today, this is what it looks like now, just after 2 months. Big difference in the trunk. This also has figs on it already, and it's doing super well. You can tell they're happy to be in the ground. Alright, one thing about fig trees, well, most fruit trees, but especially the fig, it likes to sprout from the trunk or at the bottom, and if you let it go, it'll turn into a bush. And if you want a tree, you don't really want that. So I'm going to zoom in here, and if you start seeing stuff like this at the bottom of your tree, what you should do is just go down there and just with your finger just break it off. Any of these new growths, just break them off. That will give the plant, or the tree I should say, more strength. Alright, what we have here is a black mission fig. I bought this online. It was about this big. Okay, it came in a little bit of almost looked like a test tube, you know, a little thing about this big of dirt, but the plant itself was no bigger than maybe 2 inches tall. I put it in a pot. It grew like crazy, but it became root bound, and it stayed in that pot for 2 years. And let me show you a picture of what it looked like when I finally was able to plant it in the ground. And this is a picture of it right here. That was roughly 2 months ago. It was June 28th. I took that picture, and it was just a few twigs, not doing well at all. And this is what it is today, and you have at least 2 feet of new growth on this thing in 2 months. Now I know fig trees grow well, but this one grew exceptionally well, because I used the Ellen White method, and the ground is just full of dense nutrients and organic matter. So like I said, if fig tree, if you don't keep on it, you know, breaking the little new growth off, it'll turn into a bush like this. But that's okay, because what I intend to use this for is this this winter, when this goes dormant, all the leaves will fall off, obviously. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to go down and pick just underneath that new growth where the older growth was, cut all that off, and I'm going to make new trees out of all these cuttings. And I'm going to leave just the main one here in the middle, if you can see that. Just leave the main one in the middle to grow and to become a tree. So if you got one that's a bush like this, you can make tons of trees out of them, okay? And I'll do that in later videos. Alright, this fig tree here is a Violette de Bordeaux. Now this one here is the same, it had the same experience as the other one I showed you, the Black Mission. Bought it online, they're real small. I put them in pots, they grew like crazy, but it got root bound and they stayed that way for about 2 years. Put it in the ground, same day, June 28th, and they just exploded. Okay, we got well over 2 feet of growth on this one here in particular. Same thing, it turned into a bush, but that's okay because, like I said, like on the other one, when this goes dormant, right around near the end of February here in East Texas, usually the beginning of March, things start budding here, okay? Roughly, you know, depending on what type of winter we had. So by a couple of weeks earlier, sometime near the end, mid-end of February, I'll take all my cuttings and make new trees out of them. Alright, this tree here is an Alberta Peach. I bought this at Home Depot, okay? Never had much success with trees from Home Depot. But this one in particular, they had like this box and they had these dormant peach trees, peach trees, plums, and a few other different varieties. But anyways, I went and picked up 2 of these, okay, and some plums. They all died except for this one. When I was putting these in the ground, what they did is they came in a little plastic sack, okay, is what this came in, full of dirt or whatever they use. And when I ripped the plastic off to plant it into the ground, I noticed it was a cutting, okay. So what they did, this was a branch from another tree, okay. And what they did is probably use some rooting hormone to use this as a cutting and produce roots, okay. And then they sell them. It was only $15, so it wasn't too bad. But I didn't realize it was a cutting until I took that plastic off, and I noticed the bottom of this branch here, which what it was originally, was cut, but there was roots all coming out of the branch. So kind of neat. It's got some new growth. This right here is all new growth. We got some new growth here, and this is all new growth here. Wasn't doing too good when I put it in the ground. I thought I was going to die, but it's picking back up, but it's starting to do better now. Alright guys, this entire row you see right here is Sun Gold Nectarines. It's really hard to find nectarines around here in the local nurseries. You usually just find peaches. So here I went to Bob Wells Nursery. They had nectarines because I prefer nectarines over peaches, but I'll eat peaches just the same. But anyways, now if I lived in a perfect world, I would have a row of nectarines, row of peaches, row of plums, a row of whatever, apples, a row of each different variety of fruit. But it doesn't always work out that way because you buy trees at all different times and you can't put them in the ground all at the same time. So I have a little different variety. But what I tried to do is keep the family groups all in the general area. So if you got peaches and plums and nectarines, try and keep those in the same general area. Pears, apples, those you want to keep in the same general area. And the reason for that is when they blossom in the spring, you want the bees to do what they're supposed to do and start pollinating all those trees in the same general vicinity. So that's why you should keep those in the same general area. Now obviously some trees don't need pollinating. There are some type of apple trees that don't need it. Figs obviously don't need pollinating because they just grow fruit. But you have to do your research, go online. When you buy trees, from certain nurseries. They usually have a description of if they need pollinating with other varieties. So pay attention to those kind of things. Look at the chill hours, okay? Trees, especially your fruit trees, they need a certain amount of chill hours. Find out what zone you're in, and find out how many chill hours you get in your zone, and find trees that work in your planting zone. I here live in zone 8B, and we get roughly between 600 and 700 chill hours every winter. So I try to find trees that will work in that planting zone. All right, guys, this row right here is mostly apricots and pluots. Now, pluots are a cross between plums and apricots. They're in the same general family. They'll do well together. So I planted them all in the same row. As far as pollinating, they shouldn't have a problem. All right, this row here is all cherries, okay? The last three down there are Lapin's cherries. I don't know what happened to those, but they kind of got shocked when I planted them in the ground. They're still alive. They're doing okay. They're just hanging in there. They don't have any new growth on them. That's what kind of worries me. I only planted these here maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, if that. These two right here were cherry trees that I bought 2 years ago. Okay, they were in a pot. They didn't look good, obviously, for after 2 years being in a pot after you buy them. This one, all the leaves fell off, but had all new growth, so it took off. This one, leaves fell off and it didn't come back. So I probably will have to replace this one. I'm going to wait a little longer. If I don't see any new buds coming out with new leaves, I'm just going to pull it out and replace it with a Stella cherry. That's supposed to do really good here. Alright, so this row right here is all pomegranates. They're called wonderful pomegranates. I've never grown them before. I know they're supposed to grow in this planting zone. All except for that one, the third one you see from here. That's an olive tree. I did have another olive tree planted next to it, but it died. Again, that was one of those Home Depot olives that I bought. And one didn't make it and one made it. So at least I got one. Again, I am not familiar with the pomegranate. I'm not sure how they grow, if they're supposed to be like a tree or like a bush, like the figs are, you know. But I have to do more research on that. And if you guys want to chime in on that, comment below. Let me know how they should grow. So that's basically my orchard here. I got a total of, there would have been 50 trees in this garden, but I have 47, and the reason for it is I have a giant pine tree here. This one right here. That one there is taking the spot of where I would have been planting another fruit tree, but it's okay because it supplies shade here in the orchard. And there's two spots right here, one where this stake is and one where that stake is, where I could put a tree. I might still, but the problem is it's really close to the gate. And if I have to come in and out with a tractor, although if I plant some now they'd be small enough I wouldn't have any problem. Later on when these get bigger, I might have a problem coming in with my tractor. But if I were able to put 2 trees here, then I would have 48 trees in this orchard. So we'll see. Alright, so that's about it for my orchard. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be doing more videos on working with the trees, how to produce more trees from that particular tree that you like. So if you like figs, if you like peaches, pears, plums, apples, whatever it is, you can take cuttings from those, grow new roots from those cuttings, and produce an exact copy, a clone of that tree you took it from. Here I'm next to my Fuyu Persimmons, and these have to ripen yet. This year we only had pears and these persimmons produce any fruit. Oh, and peach. We had a small peach tree. It was actually it's a dwarf peach. I think it's what it is. It's the White Zest 1 peach. It's called. Small tree. And let me show you what it looks like right here. This is a small dwarf peach. This here produced a ton of peaches. Tons. It was loaded with them. But the thing is, they're small. They're like 2 bites and you're done. But they were delicious. They were pretty good. I didn't know that when I bought it. But you know, just the same, it produces fruit, so I'm happy with it. All right, so that is about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. There'll be more videos coming soon. We are putting our garden here in this orchard, in between the trees. Our garden didn't do so well. Here's a picture of what it looks like now. As you can see, it is just overgrown by weeds. We completely abandoned it because it was infested with every bug and pest known to man. Okay, we couldn't even go in the garden anymore because we were bitten by mites, or chiggers they call them here. They're very small, almost microscopic little spiders, I guess they are. And they crawl under your skin and they just make you itch and itch and itch. One little cure for that is when you know you get one, just get some rubbing alcohol and rub it and it kills them right away. But anyways, it was a complete disaster. And after much thought, and also a good friend of ours, Eric from Country Living Experience YouTube channel, also told us it's too close to the woods. We have 7 or 8 acres of woods here, and it backs up to 600 acres of woods. So every pest that you can imagine is coming out of them woods. And we have some high grass or field area back there too. So it just ate everything up, basically. Destroyed everything, or made everything sick and died. So we're going to move that garden. It's a Back to Eden garden. We spent a lot of time and money in that garden. We're going to take that garden, pull all those weeds out that you saw. With my tractor, we're going to get all those wood chips and we're going to put them here. Okay? But I still have to do some research because I don't want to bring stuff from over there here if it's going to make this area sick also. But we will see. I've got to do more research because I really don't feel like buying another truckload of, and when I say truckload, I mean a semi-full of wood chips. I'll put a video link. I'll put a link to that video where I was working on that Back to Eden garden, so you can see. Or I'll put a link at the end of the description, or at the end of the video here. So yeah, that's what we're going to do: transplant or move that garden to here. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. And that's about it. All right. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.